Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm Vera Stewart, and welcome to the VeryVera Show. I love this time of year, and you know, the hustle and the bustle and the traffic and all the craziness we go through, it made me think about gifts from the kitchen. That's what I remember the best about my Christmas memories from my childhood. So what I want to hopefully suggest to you today is, as we go through this time together, is come up with some of the things that you used to do and love to do in the kitchen with your mom or your grandmother. Put on that great Christmas music, get those aromas going, and nothing will put you in the Christmas spirit more than that. So that's what we're going to do together today. I've got some of my favorite recipes that I'm going to share, and all of these things make perfect gifts for Christmas because they're from your home and your heart. So let's get started with a fig bread. You know, we've all had banana bread, zucchini bread, pumpkin bread. Now we're going to do a fig bread, which just says Christmas to me. So I've got my dry ingredients and my wet ingredients separate. The great thing about this recipe is you don't even have to use the mixer. So I'm going to start with my wet ingredients, which is applesauce. And you know, that's something great that you can just have in the pantry so that you can pretty much make this at a moment's notice. I've got 3 eggs, and I'm using all of my Fresh Market brands today, and then vanilla extract, and I really love their vanilla extract as well. All right, so I'm gonna just take my whisk and beat that together. And then a few minutes ago, I got all of my dry ingredients sifted, and that's the flour, the sugar, the cinnamon, the salt, all of that went through the sifter, and that's very important just because the incorporation of all those ingredients into a mixture where you've separated the wet and the dry is important to the process. All right, so now let's start adding in these dry ingredients. And this is just, I'm just gonna take my rubber spatula and just fold this in. You can actually take it all in at one time. But just use a nice folding process. Quick breads are very much like muffins. You don't want to overmix, so you want to do a really good job of just incorporating down to the bottom of the bowl and lifting up and moving around that way. Now the best part of this is the wet ingredients that go in. Fig preserves, and you know, I bet there's some folks out there in the audience that have fig trees and you eat them fresh all summer, but then you don't take the time to make those preserves out of them. This is the perfect thing to have fig preserves. Maybe somebody gave you a jar of fig preserves and now you've got a use for it. Okay, then I've got pecans. And then I've gone ahead and sprayed my 3 loaf pans with Baker's Joy. Now, if you don't have Baker's Joy, you can use your regular cooking spray and flour just to get those pans ready for the baking process. All right, so now I'm just gonna spoon into the pans, and I think I'll line them all 3 up. And this bread can also be done in disposable pans. I'm going to show you some great ways to package at the end, but I just like to throw out some suggestions along the way. You can pick those up at most craft shops or kitchen stores, the disposable pans, but I love to find really cute ways to package the things that I'm going to give for Christmas presents. You know, this time of year we're looking for gifts for the mailman, the person that cuts your hair, the guy that comes and cuts the grass, teachers, and nothing says I really appreciate everything that you do for me like something homemade from your kitchen. All right, well, I've got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. These are gonna bake for about 35 minutes. And when they pop out of the oven, I've got my great salted caramel sugar that I get from teaandspice.com that I'm gonna sprinkle on the top as soon as it comes out of the oven. So come back with me after the break. We're gonna get started on my all-time favorite morning bread. It's a cream cheese braid in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and we're doing gifts from the kitchen today. And certainly this is something, you know, I think people think I ride around with homemade breads and cakes and pies in my car, but you know, I love gifts from the kitchen. And on a day when it's going to be raining, you know, look on your phone and find out what the weather forecast is for this week. Have a few of these ingredients handy and just turn the music on and get in the kitchen and take you back to good friends and family and some of those recipes and make great gifts for Christmas this year. So the fig bread is in the oven at 350 and just the aroma is already fantastic. Got my Christmas music going, and now I'm going to get started on one of my best friends of my entire life that lives in Madison, Georgia. Her recipe, Debbie Tamplin's recipe for cream cheese braid, I'm getting ready to do. So prior to coming on the air, I got the sour cream in this recipe scalded. Now you're thinking, how in the world do you scald sour cream? So what you do is you get the sour cream in on a medium-high heat, and you want to use a wooden spoon or a spatula to move it around as it goes. And what you're looking for is kind of a frothy look to that sour cream where it's breaking down, getting some bubbles in it. You can almost hear it as you're scraping it, where it's kind of sticking to the pan. You don't want it to boil, you just want it to get almost to the boiling point. Then I added my butter and my sugar and my salt, and now that's all melted down. The next thing you have to do, and this is where I think some people shy away from yeast-based bread recipes, is I put my water in the microwave for 30 seconds because you're looking for a temperature of 110 to 115. And literally, if you put your finger in that for just a minute and it's warm to your finger, that's about the perfect temperature for that. So now this is sat and it's gotten nice and frothy. It's just perfect. And we're going to get started with my mixer, and I'm going to put the yeast mixture into the mixer. I want to use my spatula and get every bit of that out. And now I'm going to incorporate the scalded butter and sugar. And you know, there's just, I think yeast bread to me makes such a great gift because I think people do shy away from making recipes with that. All right, so now we're just going to start adding the flour to that, and I'm going to use just a 1/4 cup measure, but I'm going to get my eggs in there too while this is blending about. So this is 4 beaten eggs, and as always, our recipes are available on our website at VeryVera.com. You know, I've mentioned that this was my friend's recipe, and she and I were both home ec teachers in Madison, Georgia. And you know, I think I'm going to give her a quick buzz because it's just making me think about her as I'm making this. So I'll put her on speaker. Hope
hey,
she's
Vera.
home. Hey, Deb, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I'm calling you. I'm actually on the set on my show, and I'm making your recipe for cream cheese braids.
Oh my gosh, no you aren't. I remember making that recipe with you every holiday season.
Well, Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, good luck on the show.
Thanks. Oh, you know, don't you have those recipes that ran in your family that you just loved to make during the holidays? Well, I'm going to turn this off for just a minute because I can finish that dough in just a few minutes, but I want to show you what it looks like after the dough is done and you put it in the refrigerator. It's going to rise in the refrigerator, or you can sit it out on the counter at room temperature and then get it good and cold in the refrigerator. But I've divided the dough into 4 compartments because this recipe is going to make 4 of the braids. Let me wipe my cutting board off. So just have some flour handy that you can spread on the board, and then you're going to take 1/4 section of that dough, and you just want to knead this 4 or 5 times. So just roll it around in your flour, and you're just going to knead it down 4 or 5 times. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to get that rolling pin out. We're going to make a rectangle and put the most delicious filling on the inside. So come back with me in just a few minutes.
Ask Vera is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Instead of a question from Ask Vera today, I decided I would give you a tip about gift wrapping. You know, we all know how to wrap the box, but we all don't know how to make a bow, but you will after today. You're gonna take the ribbon and go around the outside of the box and make just a simple knot in the middle. Then you're gonna take your red ribbon and you're gonna loop it so that it's about the size of the width of the box. Then take a paper clip and hold the ribbon together in the center, and then just start making a circle, round and round and round, until you've gone all the way around with your ribbon. And I'm gonna do 5 loops on either side of the ribbon. Okay, then you're gonna take your scissors and cut a little wedge out at the end, leaving about a 1/2 inch in the center. The same thing on the other end. And now you're gonna flip-flop it. You've got the center now easily able to go into the center of the box. Tie it with a knot, take the gem clip out, start opening up the bow, and you're gonna have a beautiful, big, pretty bow. You wanna know what's in wrapping paper? Look at your current clothing catalogs. It looks like it's plaid this year. Did I remember to tell you guys that I'm happy today? That's right. You know, it's Christmas time and we're all enjoying things that have to do with making Christmas special with food and flavor and fun and just enjoying family time. So the ideas today for gifts from the kitchen all stems from us taking a deep breath and recognizing that we're missing out on some of the best parts because we're too manic in everything that we do. So today I've given you some great ideas for things that you can get in the kitchen and do yourself. Give a gift of love. There's a priceless gift, especially in today's world. So while we were away doing the break, I got the filling done for these cream cheese braids, and cream cheese, sugar, eggs, vanilla, it just is absolutely fantastic. So this makes enough for 4 of these braids. So that's why this recipe is really cool. You can do it in steps. You can make the dough the day before, you can make the filling that morning, and then now it's time to get this dough rolled out into the rectangles. So before the break, I showed you that I had separated the dough into 4s. We've kneaded it. I've got a really nicely floured board. I'm gonna put a little bit of that flour on my rolling pin. And basically what we're trying to accomplish here is an 8 by 12 rectangle. So you want to start getting that rectangle shape going, and this is where you'll get your hands kind of involved, and flip it from time to time so that you are making sure it doesn't stick to the cutting board. But yeast dough, of course, is an elastic dough, so if it's, you know, still kind of chilled when you're working with it, it makes it a little bit easier to work with, but you do have to use that elbow grease to get the shape that you're looking for. So I'm almost there. It's a very skinny dough because this is gonna roll up like a jelly roll. Okay, so that's about 8 by 12. Now for the great filling that goes in the center. So this is another one of these fantastic instruments that has a little shelf on it so that when you're using this spreader and you put it back on the counter, your filling doesn't go all over the counter. So I've divided this into 4s, and we're just gonna put it right in the center of this rectangle. You know, this is one of those things that just truly reminds me of the holidays. And back in my teacher days, if a student had walked in with this for me at Christmas time, I would have been thrilled. All right, so I'm gonna spread it all over the rectangle to within about a 1/2 inch of the edge. And you know, if you want to make your own twist out of this, at this point you could add cinnamon and pecans. You could actually make it more like a sweet roll. But there's something very special to me about the flavor of cream cheese. I don't want to take away from that flavor at all. So I like to leave it just as it is. All right, so now we're going to start on the wide end, and we're going to roll it up, jelly roll fashion. And it's just so soft and easy to work with. I just love it. I wish I could have my music on really loud right now, but y'all wouldn't be able to hear me. Okay, so I'm almost there, and when you get to the end with it, you're just going to tuck the edges under, just like that. And I'm going to put my hand right under this end and right under that end, and I'm going to flip it right onto the pan. And you know, the recipe is called a cream cheese braid. And now you're thinking, that does not look like a braid to me. Well, now here's where the magic comes in. You're going to take your kitchen scissors and you're going to make X's, 6 of them, all the way down the center. And I've got my oven preheated, and this is going to just bake up. So see, that's going to, and you can let it rise a little bit more, or you could go ahead and pop it in the oven, or you can put it in the refrigerator and bake it tomorrow morning. But essentially, this is what it looks like when it's ready to go in the oven. And then I took some pie crust that I had left over in the freezer. I made little holly leaves out of it, took an egg white and put green food coloring in it, and I've tinted my holly leaves green, and when it comes out of the oven, I'm going to plop in some dried cranberries, and that just sings Merry Christmas. So come back with me after the break. I'm going to show you how to put the gifts from the kitchen into gift presentation fashion, and we're going to put together quite a celebration. So come back with me in just a few minutes. How about an elevated pastry brush? Has a little plateau so that when you put it on the counter, it doesn't leave a mess, goes right in the Christmas stocking. Welcome back, everybody, and as you can see, we've got some fantastic gifts from the kitchen today, and I hope that some of these ideas, as small as they may be, will give you a little tip and maybe a suggestion to remember someone that might not have been on your Christmas list otherwise. There's nothing like gifts from the heart and the home. So as we were during the break, I decided to get those cream cheese braids out of the oven. I did a very simple confectioner's sugar, milk, and vanilla glaze, and just put that icing in a Ziploc bag and cut the tip off and use that as a piping instrument to get those done. And then I also made a really quick, easy granola. That would be a great idea for friend gifts or teacher gifts, Sunday school teacher gifts, but it was basically oatmeal and nuts and brown sugar, honey, coconut oil. But as always, our recipes are available at VeryVera.com, so check that out. It makes about this much, and the bags that I've got on the counter have about 1.5 cups of granola in it with some suggestions for what to do with it. All right, that delicious fig bread, and as you can see, it just slices beautifully. You can see the figs all the way through it. And you know, we all have our favorite dollar store, so go pick up some cute little trays that you can display this in. I've individually wrapped each one, and then I've tied a red ribbon around it. And during the Ask Vera segment today, I showed you how to make a bow, so I've got one all ready. I'm just going to tie that up on the top, and I'll separate it out and get it all ready. And then what I've done here is I've used a bell and a little piece of string to take that recipe for the fig bread and put it on there as an extra treat to go with this. And there are two ways that you can do this. You can either share the recipe or turn that into your traditional gift that you always give to that person, and they'll look forward to it. But you know, when you go to our website and you see these recipes, you're looking at a Word document, but the surprise is when you print it out, it looks just like this. So it's really a nice way to finish up a package. Okay, the cream cheese braid was completely finished. The holly leaves turned out great. I've used dried cranberries for the berry. And then I'm just gonna wrap this with cellophane. And again, a trip to the dollar store gave me a great idea for a cutting board to sit on top of it. I've got one ready. And then just cellophane can be cut into a size that's just enough to pull it together at the top and on the sides. And you just twist that together, tie that up with a ribbon, and you've got another great way to present a gift with an extra added bonus of the cutting board. And those are fairly reasonably priced. All right, so we've got all this together. The granola, as I said, went in the little bag. I found these cute little tags and we called it reindeer food with the suggestions on the back. And then if you are completely out of time and you've got a last minute gift that you need to buy, our good friends at the Fresh Market have done the work for you. They've got some of their most wonderful treats in here, all the way wrapped up, many different price ranges, so that always works great as a gift. And some of this stuff has quite a long shelf life on it, so it can spill over into the new year if you decide that you've run out of time. So here we are at the holiday season with busy times, but a great way to get in your kitchen, do some of the things that you love and share it with family and friends. Remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste, and I hope you'll come back with me next weekend because we're gonna cook Christmas dinner. I'll see you again next weekend.